wait, what is this? Yeah, Magnus said something about that once. No, it just hasn't. It doesn't know what the position is, so it just hasn't happened yet. So it hasn't randomized yet. But this is for the next game. But yeah, he said that the cool thing about 960 is that you can just start pushing your wing pawns, and it works sometimes. It's like B5 is a good, the Grob is a good move. Okay, so these are done. So Magnus beat Nepo. And okay, somebody beat this guy. Someone stopped him. I think someone beat him yesterday too, if I recall. This guy's really hard to stop. So, okay. So let's see how Magnus beat him. This is a crazy game. So somewhere the potential is going to break. And here he goes again with his wing attack. But you see, it's very sensible because he's opened up the two bishops immediately. Funny enough, this would be like, think about what opening this would be for white. Well, it would have to be on the other side of the board, or it effectively is, because it's on the opposite side from the king. But if you play like a ready opening, let's say this were the C pawn, right? And then often you're going to move the B pawn as well. So be on the other side of the board, but you often do that. Or like think of like a bank, like sort of a Banco gambit, right? And but reverse, which is why it's more like a ready, where you get to move first. So you can see the similarities in structures. Just throw this pawn aside, it's like like similar spirit to Queen's Gambit or King's Gambit. Just cast this pawn aside, although it's not even a gambit, you can take back. And you can also see that when you take back, it's one of the scenarios where you haven't really compromised anything. The queen you don't have to take back, but you can just take back the queen, mobilize your queen. And I mean, sure, they can play this, they can attack with the pawn. You just go back and like, all right, now you have a hole, right? So for example, here, well, funny enough, this has been played before. This is pulled from the Lead Chess database. So I probably have some mics that played so many, but yeah, I just go back somewhere. It's like, oh, I have a battery and this is a hole, So, Lynn, what were you saying?
No, so David, I'm a bit confused because is this a particular opening where the queens and the bishops are all out of their normal place?
Right. This is 960 where Fischer Random Chess. So there are 960 different randomized positions. Although the only rules on that, the only conditions on that, from what I understand, is that the bishops have to be opposite colors, two light square bishops or something, and the rooks have to be on, both sides of the king. So you can
so these are randomized positions. Okay.
Right, 960 combos or Fischer Random Chess. The Fischer came up with it. I saw that Susan Polgar had some tweets showing that she helped Fischer develop it. She was doing some kind of testing it out with Fischer to finalize the rules and everything. I don't know if she's the only one, but it seemed like they did a lot of work together.
The castling rules, does the king show up castle to the place where it would normally castle?
Yeah, exactly. So like, let's say you are all the way, let's say a rook here and a king here, you would swing your king all the way to G1, and then the rook would just go on the other side of it. And then this move once, you'll end up on C1, and the rook will. So it's the same. It's a regular castle position for what it's worth. I don't know why they made that decision exactly.
Well, I can see that as being very confusing.
Yeah.
Well, the game the other day, who was it? Wesley So didn't even know the castling rules, was going to try to castle out a check, but couldn't, and resigned because he didn't know what the castling rules were.
Oh,
yeah. I mean, everything changes when you do it like this.
Yeah, and you won last year.
One would assume that the same rule would apply, that you can't castle through check or not out of check. Although there was a weird thing. Oh, right. It was a situation where the king was on G8.
Yeah.
And he just had to he tried to move the rook and castle, but still you're casting out a check. So I don't know.
Right. And we discussed it with him, and then he just resigned.
Oh, that's too bad. Yeah, the arbiter come up.
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, it's just like Wesley won last year. Like, you'd think he'd know the rules.
Wait, so that means he would have had to effectively try to castle. It just means he'd have to move the king. And I guess it would have been a bad king move. Or maybe he thought it worked, but he got back rank mated or something. I don't know.
He got back rank mated, yeah. And
he thought he could hang he thought he can like essentially allow the check.
Right.
Interesting. Wow. So
he didn't seem too broken up about it.
Now that's clear.
Yeah, he didn't seem too broken up about it, but it was weird to watch them have that conversation.
Yeah,
that's too bad. I mean, he beat Magnus. What was it, 2019 or something? 2018 or 2019. He was the champion. Like, was it the first time they did this? I don't know.
Yeah, I think so.
So he was the first Fischer Random Chess champion, and he played amazingly against Magnus. That's why I really like So, and I thought he has great chances to become the world champion. But I guess he has a lot of these guys are so good, but they're just not. They just don't have the consistency to get there. Okay.
So David, another question. In chess 960, then do they have any particular openings that they apply? You know, either black or white, or, you know,
Not really. I mean, like here, we were talking about how they'll like, they have a little, what do they have? Like, I don't know, 15, 30 minutes or something to look at the position, not much time. So they can try and, fortunately with, I mean, hopefully without a computer, it sounds like they don't. But so they can like look at it and try to come up with some theory on the fly. Someone said once that I've heard that that Nakamura was trying to come up with theory, but I mean, it's simply impossible. It's hard enough to come up with opening theory for one regular position that we use. It's just exponential. I mean, okay, plus 959 times. I mean, theory for 960 positions, it's not humanly possible.
yeah. How is Newman ranking in this?
Oh, is he there? I don't think he's there.
Oh,
He's just-
okay.
He didn't do too well in the US
No,
Championship.
I mean, in this type of play, chess 960.
Oh, yeah, because then you see how he does on his own, maybe, or at least,
Yes.
well, at least without opening theory, unless he's fed every move, you know. Who knows? We'll have to find out. Hopefully it'll
All
come.
right.
Anyway, so this is similar to like a ready, and because it doesn't really matter. It's kind of like we talked about, you know, in English on one side is a reverse Sicilian on the other side, right? So this should be similar to like a banco or a ready. Well, what they'll do in the ready sometimes, I'll pull up a regular position they have. So what they'll do sometimes they'll go like C4, not F6, let's say, and then they go B4 sometimes, something like this. So, and then maybe C5 is played, or maybe we'll do it right after C5, but they'll try and get something like this immediately and get the bishop out. So it's kind of like 960 style in a way, for those flanks. And, you know, the other one just had two bishops somewhere over here and get them out quickly. But yeah, ready is very interesting. So you can see, or like if it's a banco, for example, D4, knight
How do you
F6,
spell ready?
RETI. Actually, I have a book right here. I want to read the book more. Actually, I have his book sitting right here, The Best Games of Richard Reddy. Yeah, it's very interesting.
Cool.
Yeah, he was among the best, you know. What was it, like in the early 1900s? I see 1907, and then I see 1925.
It was hyper modern, correct?
Yeah, that's
Just
hypermodern. Yeah,
Okay.
definitely. He was one of the pioneers of hypermodern chess. So anyway, and then banco would be like C5, D5, and B5. So you see the same thing. If we look at it this way, it's like the same thing, right? Except he has the chance to take back with the queen, which is even better. And now you say, you know, we're all about breaking rules here, because oh, wait, which one? Oh, right here, looking at it from his perspective. So, you know, it's like, oh, well, I'm playing on the flank immediately and I'm bringing up my queen immediately. So we have to think outside the box. It's very good for that, because there are a lot of times where we should break the rules. So the so-called main principles in chess that we learned early on. And that's why actually people say a lot of times they'll say computers are very useful, because they kind of show us when to break those rules, because the computers don't really care. Like, if it's good, it's good. So they get us outside that box to think, you know, untraditionally. So we strike at this one. So it's got to be a good move. Sometimes they can go like this. And interestingly, sometimes when you take, there'll be a pin. In this case, we just have a queen trade. I don't really see how that would benefit white. You just give black the file. That can't benefit white. I
Wasn't
think.
there some kind of funny thing where I saw it on Twitter, like Magnus played something and then the bishop came down and took on B2, and like there was something hanging.
Yeah, well, that happens, well, especially if this rook isn't guarding. Or sometimes it'll be like a king guarding. What I like to do if they're like this, king guarding, I'll try and strike at it with a wing. Or they'll have like, especially if it's like a queen in the corner,
Yeah.
like little weak points like that. Or you have some strikes, so you both end up striking, and like one person takes, and we're like here,
Yeah.
and then the other one gets it or something. Yeah, it gets interesting. So anyway, what gets interesting from move 2 right here. So, but as I said, you know, it's like you can develop the queen as well. And I'm sure he's fine with that, because the queen can't really be attacked. You know, and again, this doesn't seem that great.
Yeah, it doesn't.
So yeah, she's just gonna hang out here and then get some rapid development. And again, even if she gets chased back, she can just create a battery and make the rook worry about this or something like that. Make him worry about B7. So it seems like a good opening so far for Nepo. Is fine. Magnus does play G6. So again, the idea that, okay, if you want to take, we neutralize. So essentially you've traded the G4 pawn for the G6 pawn. It's kind of like in the Slav, like we talked about, you know, C6 for C4 pawn. You don't really want to trade, you know, that readily, because you're just going to give up most of your space advantage. Then would just neutralize, right? Whereas now, still white has a little bit of a space advantage, 4th rank pawn versus 3rd rank pawn, and we've removed a pawn, F pawn for a G pawn, so we've taken away more of a central influence, right? So this usually should be a good thing in general for white. Sure, you can argue, okay, there's an isolated H pawn. We use that as a battering ram often, or we just ignore it and be like, okay, that doesn't matter. Center matters here, right? But you could use it as a battering ram. Pressure on the G file. Okay, so he doesn't care if he takes, he does. And similarly, black doesn't care if white takes, because again, you neutralize the space, right? That's fine for black. So let's see what, actually, funny enough. So again, this is just on Lee chess, but when it's been played, you can see top games. So white won the top games overall. No, white did win most of the time, 67% of the time, as well as the top games. It's like we're talking about 2057, but they're probably much stronger than that. And these are bullet games. But 2057, like you'll see a lot of these guys like IMs are 2100 or something, GM like 2300. It's just a different pool, different ratings. So they're underrated, whereas most of the chess is overrated. Inflation. Okay, so 93, F takes B4. So looks okay for Nepo so far. Magnus is solid. So we've both opened up both bishops immediately. So playing on the wing makes a lot of sense here because that's where our bishops are. So we're going to open the bishops early. And we'll figure out the knights. We're probably going to castle queenside. I suppose Magnus will as well. He could go this way, but a little open, right? We don't need to do that. He'll strike at him on the king side. So probably both castle queenside or not castle at all. Knight comes out. So only difference is Nepo has a little more queenside space. I guess I'd call this kingside space. Sometimes it's like the opposite. So knight c5, d6. Knight 1v3. I want to just get rid of the question marks and stuff, but because it sometimes says random stuff. I could actually do that. Hold on. Best move error. Okay. And evaluation game. So we'll just look at it ourselves. All right. Especially for 960. We want to think independently. Like we did that one day, analysis, 0 computers, right? All right. So we have knight to d6. I mean, it seems natural enough. But you got to be careful. The knights might start hopping in. At least here. To play here, you can't really do that because the knight comes here and forks. So you see, we're already thinking about how we can create weaknesses, try and take advantage of this. If this pawn can't push to b3, d pawn can't push, so we could try to use this square. Obviously, white's already using the c5 square because the b and the d pawn are blocked, so temporarily. And again, it's just going to be difficult to move anything. So white's doing pretty well so far. Can't really move the knight because you'll lose the b pawn. A lot of pressure on the b pawn immediately. But similarly, black might end up getting here and putting pressure on the b pawn, the counterpart pawn. Well, there you go. So both doing the same thing in mind. And then Nepo commits to c3. Well, which is a natural move. What's his idea with c3? Maybe even just defensively. What do you think?
To probably protect from the bishop.
Yeah, exactly. You call blunting the bishops.
Yeah.
So he's biting on, biting on granite, right? I mean, still you have to be careful, if you move a d pawn, it might soften the c pawn. But at least for now, he's like, okay, I don't like your bishop. That's kind of your strongest piece along with the knight. And eventually he's hoping, okay, let's say I cover this with, actually, I think he did end up there later. Like he ended up something awkward, if I recall. But let's say you end up with this, and then here. No, sorry, that was the other game against Nepo. Here and then d3, hopefully you kick it out. a5, oh, natural enough, going for the a pawn strike. Centralized. So I think Nepo's fine if Magnus takes, right? He'll get rid of that strong bishop and he'll bring a pawn to the center and try to activate his own bishop somehow. So he's probably fine if he takes, which he does. Interesting. But he's going to try and outplay him with the knights, maybe keep it closed enough so the bishops don't activate. But again, we have that good bishop on the diagonal. Now this one I'm thinking, okay, maybe here, but that's going to be the harder one to activate. And also look at the weaknesses in white's position. I see why he did it actually. I mean, where's the king going to go? Look at the comparative placement of the kings. Who's king? If we break down the imbalances, well, we're talking about bishop pair versus the knights, bishop. We have the doubled pawn now, which is controlling some center. But how about king safety? And we talked about control of squares or temporary control of squares that effectively couldn't be chased right away. What do you guys think? Oh, who's taking off? Okay, see you, Richard. Thanks for coming. Yeah, however long you guys can make it. It's great to have you. So what do you think? Whose king is safer and why?
think White's king is safer because he right now has an escape square. Right now. He
So,
has
so C2/C1.
the C2, C1, you know.
He
Maybe you
does. He
up there,
does, but
C on.
he's a little open too.
He is open, but
It's like double-edged in that way.
okay, so then black is more safer because he's closed in.
Yeah, he's a little more sealed, right? Which
He
can
also has the knight.
which can be a drawback sometimes, but he's not gonna get smothered, it looks like yet. A little more protection for sure with the pawns. Yeah. What's that, Todd?
Also has the knight sort of protected knight sitting there absorbing, providing protection.
This guy,
Yeah.
D6. Yeah, so it'd be like similar to a knight on G3 or something. It's
Yeah,
interesting, he chose, so because they're doing so much wing play, it's like, okay, I mean, I'm not moving my pawn to the center just yet. And I don't think black is castling. I don't think so. I mean, what's the benefit of moving your king to C8 and moving your rook to D8? I may as well keep it here for either shifting into the A file or continuing with his flank play, where he's supporting things, right? And I have a sense that he probably eventually went to A4 to maybe help stabilize the knight. So you can open lines. Yeah, this knight wants to be here for now. Now, again, you can't go D3 tactically, you get forked. Even B3 might hop into A3 and bother him or something and reroute.
What about E4?
E4
After
pawn.
Yeah, go after the other one.
E4 to E5.
Yeah, it looks a little dangerous.
Well, there would be some cost. What
Yeah.
would be the gains? What would be the direct cost of pushing the pawn so much?
Mm,
What do you think? Well, and as for the king gets
yeah,
interesting.
the king looks like
He's gonna
terrible.
stay in the center. Yeah, that's the problem. Because I mean, he could try and castle queen side and like move the bishop and go king H1.
And the knight could also fork the queen and the rook.
Here.
Yeah, if you
Actually, what if the knight goes here? Yeah, you can actually set up
Yeah.
some traps. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Like,
I guess I'd also be worried about bishop to H5.
oh, you're still here, Richard. You don't have to leave yet.
Yeah.
Okay. Bishop H5. Right.
Yeah, I mean-
let's say some tossing this eventually. Like if you can.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you
Yeah.
can support it.
All right,
Yeah.
E4, never mind.
Shoving your pawns forward or something, who knows? But yeah, right. You're saying in terms of you open this diagonal. So that's the thing, Lynn. Yeah, I think you understand now, right? In terms of the king, well, the problem is you can't really castle him anywhere good. Similarly, like black doesn't need to go C8 really, or especially not castling. You don't need the rook on D8 here. And similarly, white doesn't help him to go C1, especially with some assault happening over here, right? Some king side attack or be queen side attack, right? So he's just opening up lines here, getting space for Magnus. And yeah, I mean, maybe practically it's kind of like in against a Sicilian, like against a Najdorf. A lot of times you do have your king on G1, bishop's fianchetto on G2, and you start throwing pawns at him. Although then the king would be on the king side for black. So you'd have like a clear target. Like, okay, I'm opening my king, but at least I have a clear idea of opening up black's king too. And it's kind of like double edged, and you hope that your bishop acts kind of like a pawn. So I would certainly consider stuff like that though. Like use your bishops as pawns and castle, and then hope you play in the middle with your pawns. And Nikki, what I was also going to say is by the push, you're giving him F5 square.
Yeah.
And then when you're here, you got this. And again, we might do some sacks on E3.
Yeah. This
Or
is,
just, well, I mean, huge strategic advantage because if you can fix this in place, put pressure all on the dark squares. But
that wasn't a well thought out idea at all.
no. I mean, it's the
Really
process.
wasn't.
No, I mean, you have to explore it. It's process of elimination.
Yeah.
Good. So you kind of know, you're like, wait, so if you're thinking it's black, if I'm in this position, when it's his turn, maybe like, what if he does this? Well, I want to be ready, or at least I want to have a sense of what I do. Can I strike at it? If I had an F pawn, I would think about pushing. I can't strike at it yet. I don't think I want to push my T pawn against it. Weaken this. But I'd think about it. Am I worried about it? I just leave it there and don't let him, let him stay there. If he wants to push, I'll just come in. Well, if he does that, then he immediately weakens D4 and theoretically F4. Because if he's here, guards the pawns, but then what's the drawback? His bishop's worse. It's like in a stonewall attack or a stonewall defense. That bishop on the dark square, rather the dark square for white, light square for black, it's just a horrendous bishop, the perennial bad bishop, where you have to reroute it or something. So yeah, it's everything you have to consider. Be very sensitive to every adjustment in the structure. It's just really, I mean, it's a huge, step toward mastery. It's just thinking about understanding what the implications of different structures, but what each structure will look like. visualize that and then evaluate each one, but also just knowing how much it can morph and anticipating, oh, what if my opponent morphs it? What if I morph it, you know? But clearly a b5, b5, or, you know, queenside pawn storm looks attractive, but what's the drawback of b5 for black? How does that maybe help white?
Okay. Light squares around like maybe a6, b7,
True,
b7.
true. A6 is immediately weakened, just like this move. Theoretically, you could come in with a knight if you want to. Maybe some tactical ideas or something. Gives him the option of a6. Now, also, what did he give up by moving the pawn twice? He gave him an option. It helps. How does it help white's piece activity? Piece placement. Or makes it harder for, let's say, harder for you to challenge. How so? By b5. Again, just thinking of hypotheticals so we can think of plans for each side, or how to exploit them if they do it.
Hmm.
You can't
If
kick your
if
c5
he
anymore.
goes to b5, then he opens up white knight to a6, attacking the rook.
Right, there's a6. Well, he's weakening. You guys are getting at the weakening of the light squares.
Yeah.
He's weakening light squares, but he's also given something else. Oh, and Andrew, what were you saying?
You can't kick the knight on c5.
Yes, yes. So he's given up two things. He's given up the ability to control. Well, again, he has to rely on that with two pawns. But you move one of them,
Yeah.
then you have to, if you want to chase it, you can only use this pawn. And as we saw, well, first of all, the knight's it's very difficult. We don't like the knight on c5 for black doesn't like this one and white doesn't like this one, the counterpart knights, right? So if you go b5, it makes it that much harder. Okay, theoretically move this knight, which kind of supports this knight. Or it does, right? Along with the queen. So let's say you move this one. Now you only can play this, but you get forked here. Right? Because they, at least for now. So the moment he plays, he doesn't have time to play bishop to guard. So the pawn needs to guard. So really it's going to be difficult for black to play in the center. So it's kind of like, okay, fine. Well, you know, you can play b6 first. Maybe it's not the end of the world. You know, knight a6 has to be carefully calculated because right now it probably gets trapped. No, my bad. Can't do it yet because the bishop covers. So yeah, it's not easy for black to deal with the knight. Now it's for white. Can't go here. Same thing, same problem. So we have certain forms of symmetry or same problems. So it's kind of like this is a weak point. That'll be like equivalent to maybe an F pawn almost. These are both actually weak. Let's say like two F pawn problems, or maybe more like a C pawn or something like that. But yeah, it becomes problematic for both sides. So we're both working that because we both have our knights that are aiming at those points, aiming at the D pawn as well as the E3/E6 squares. And we both moved our F pawns. So that's what. So now we're talking about these two pawns on light squares, which by moving makes it harder to challenge the knight on the dark squares. And by moving our F pawns, we've made it harder to cover, even harder to cover E6/E3. So it's like this cascade effect of which pawns you move, which weaknesses you create. So it's not, it's a little tricky for Magnus, you know. Well, then maybe you say it's kind of like we talked about in the other class last week, the Botvinnik system. So the knight reaches D4, right? The knight's gonna, you know, if you have your pawns like this, the knight's gonna sit on D4, kind of like sitting here or something, right? So the knight's gonna get here. Do you just work around it? I have to find that game. What's his name? Mihail Marin or something? The guy here, did you guys find it, the Grandmaster preparation book or something on the English? And he advocates for the Botvinnik, which I didn't end up really choosing. Again, I preferred the Great Snake, but he advocated for the Botvinnik. And he has a cool game that I found where he just ignores the knight on d4. He just knows where it can go. Can't go anywhere critical that he doesn't cover. And he just works around it. And
That's so cool to be able to work around it. Like that's not even, I never even considered such a thing. I mean,
yeah. It's just what are your options?
yeah.
It's like if you're under attack, one option is just to ignore the piece that's attacking, kind of like that, right? You capture it, you move away from it, or you just ignore it, right? And if it's not attacking anything, well, like that's with these knights. What I'm getting at is, hey, maybe it's really hard to remove them. Okay, well, don't let them do anything too dangerous and go about your business. I mean, obviously, I'd like to play b6. Well, I mean, okay, hold on a second. So let's think this through. Well, that's kind of like what Nepo wanted to do. Because he went here, blocking the bishop, and then going here will become a little more possible. Or for example, like that's why I'm thinking maybe here, C6, block it. And as I said, you can't go rook 8. Now maybe something like this would work. So try and make that work. I mean, maybe he does C6. It's attractive because you can go B6. But I mean, like I said, the knights aren't everything. You know, if you just can't move, they restrict certain pawn movement, like the D pawns can't move. E6 square is, it's not, well, it's partially weak, let's say. It's weaker than it used to be, right? Just because there's a pawn there doesn't mean that it's, you know, completely strong, right? Things can be undermined, such as, again, working all around, right? Yeah, C2 is a big problem. So when you go back to it, then there's a lot to analyze here, because this is the context here. Like everything is gonna flow from this position in terms of structure, right? What are our decisions? We already have a bishop pair for white, and we're working with the knights for black. And again, that's another thing, you know, given that we have these squares, well, you know, the knight likes this, but there's only one knight. We got two of them to use. And again, F5, threatening immediately, 93. So, I mean, he's not going to fall for that, but still, you have a bishop F2 or something. But still, you go bishop F2, you weaken this. Who knows? You just overwhelm them. Keep hitting weak points or under kind of weak or sort of, you know, semi-weak points, such as the D pawns. Well, you certainly can't move the bishop, you know, you get mated. So that is a weak point. All right, so let's see what happened. You guys have any questions about this? But this is important. This is kind of like you just came out of, you know, you just arrived, you finished theory, let's say, in a regular game, although you'd still, it would be a completely murky situation. Yeah, something out of a 9-orf. You finished your theory, okay, whatever, an offbeat line, we're 15 moves in, and some crazy situation arises. Although that would usually be opposite side castling or something. But you know, now we're in the middle game and we're on our own, except we were on our own, right? But you know what I mean? So here we are, but that's where you have to, you're coming out, you're in the transitional phase. You're coming out of essentially the opening. We're almost fully developed. We're not going to castle probably. Maybe white goes kingside. But we're pretty much where we want to be with our kings for now. We just need to bring out a bishop if we can. Easier for white than for black right now. And then we continue. If it were me, I'd probably go for E6 maybe. So I could bring it up, and you can't bring out the bishop. So it's very problematic. You know, that's where
Like, it's so hard to come up with a plan.
yeah, if nothing else, your plan might just be, how do I create harmonious development?
Yeah.
But obviously Magnus, you know, again, going back to the Selmans and balances idea, you're playing against the bishop pair. You want to shut it down as much as possible. So that's where C6 might come in handy, to block the bishop on H1, create blunt that. And yeah, try and keep this as at least we might call it an artificial support point. So again, if you can't go D3 anytime soon, and B3 we have this, or especially if you have the other one, especially if you have A4 in, it just makes it that much harder to play B3. Let's say the rook wants to swarm around here, you know, later on. Things like that. It's like, oh, you could play B3, but it'd actually be similar to a Maraxi bind type scenario, where black tries to throw the A pawn forward. There would be pawns on C4, E4, and B3, and you try to, you know, play A4 and open it up. So if you go B3, there may be A4s. So anyway, maybe the knight retreats that A4. We already have A4. Intimidating him from like trying to preempt it. Okay, so let's see what he did. Aha, he did go B6. Well, I think the thing is, if you look at it from Magnus' perspective, the thing is, yeah, he can go 96, but again, you know, obviously you're not going to go rook E8. If you don't go rook E8, you have to go rook C8. Now, it's a one-move attack, unless he has some fancy thing with 96, but he doesn't have enough backing. It's just a knight and a bishop looking on the diagonal, which can easily be blocked, as we saw with C6. So does 96 actually do anything? It would be an amateur move, maybe. Does it actually do it? A one mover? What does it achieve? I mean, if anything, or is it just a bad move for white?
Yes, it helps black, because then he goes to, you said C8?
Yeah, I mean, it's forced. It's basically forced.
Yeah.
Unless you want to go here and give up your rook.
Yeah, no.
You don't need to. I mean, sure, you want to get rid of it, but again, we'll blunt it. But yeah, you just go rook C8, and it's like, what are you doing?
Yep.
Well, and there's no, well, unless he has this, but he doesn't. The knight's going to stay on D6. So, and then you're gonna probably win them, and then you go c6, and then you get to play finally, as we keep talking about this idea, and then you win the knight. I think so. Looks like you win the knight. I mean, he's got a5 in, so it's just a trap. I mean, maybe a 500 would fall. I don't know. We can fall for it sometimes, but if you look at it for a little bit, you're like, all right, I know what a trap is. Right? I know what you move your knight to the flank. Sometimes it works if you're very something fancy like a knight sack, but no, it's not going to work. Nothing. You can just sense it because there's not enough force, right? If you had a rook already here and the queen were kind of closer, maybe I'd think about it. If you had like doubled up here or something. Oh, now I might have some stuff on the c file.
So we were afraid of a ghost. We were afraid of the
Maybe
lights
a
of a
ghost.
ghost.
Right. We're not afraid of it, but we evaluate it again. We look at everything just like you looked at. Oh, maybe e4, e5. Like, okay,
Yeah.
I need to look at it. But it's. I look. I'm like, oh wait, is that scary? Nope, it's actually good. Now if he's on e4, that looks a bit scary if he just sits there, but it's not, because he's not going anywhere with it. 1 and 2, d4 is really weak. And like I said, theoretically f4 is weak, but we're not in terms of pawn structure. But that doesn't look relevant, but it is relevant. Because let's say in the end game, you castle, or anytime you castle queenside, you move the queen up 1, put pressure here. Castle queenside, double your rooks, boom, pressure. So just anticipate that. Unfortunately, I don't have a dark square bishop to attack it, but whatever. We'll double our rooks. Maybe a knight hops around or something. Too bad. Yeah, I would like to go here or something later, but whatever. Maybe we do go there in the future. So we have ideas. Point is, we can generate pressure here. Definitely, like I said, queen g7, immediate pressure. Provoke them, forward. Provoke them to move forward, create more weaknesses. So typical hypermodern style, then strike at it later or something. Anyway, let's get through this, then we can see. So right now, who's playing? Oh, the new game started. So we'll just, I'm sure it's not that deep in yet, but I think they started a few minutes ago, but let's take a look. But I mean, I think the main thing was to understand what's going on in entering the middle game. Now we'll see actually what they decide, what the GMs, the top players decide to do. So he does go for b6 because it's annoying. So basically, the only knight that white had is being driven back, and the bishops are going to be not that great. Okay, well, it makes sense because it's a pin. Oh, I want to get rid of those annoying things again. Wait, I took off the best move arrow. Okay, I just disabled computer now. So, okay. So, I mean, it makes this happen. Again, this happens early in the opening, like I mentioned real quick, like when I talked about this stuff. So sometimes that's good because, if this is undefended, if there's like a piece in the way, then you can take and you can't take back. But in this situation, you actually, now that we're at this point, you actually can. And we're not even that far in. We're only on move 10. They already have a ton of complicated, and that's just 960, right? Totally messy position. It's this is a great example of a position where you can try to outplay somebody. This is not likely to be a draw, right, anytime soon. So g5, no grandmaster draws here. b3. Oh, here you go. So this is the things we were talking about. But like I said, you can't take. There's pressure. He's probably provoking this move. Well, he wants e3, kind of create rigidity maybe on the dark squares. So blocks the bishop further. So b3 on the dark squares, make it a bad bishop. As we said, he only has now he doesn't even have this move. Remember we talking about this? So no good moves for the bishop. So we're playing against his bishops as well. Okay, he comes in because white doesn't have a4 in, so he could come back. So tactically, this is completely fine. He gains a tempo. It looks funny, but restrict the rook a little bit. Rook gets to come here. We're going to deal with it. Okay. Now that he kicked the knight, the main idea of nothing else is get the knight out of there, be able to finally develop your bishop. And even better, tactic. Oh, that's nasty. So let's say he tries to go 95. He's like, aha, I'm threatening mate. Well, I mean, if you need to, go here. But there's a much better idea. What does black want? That's just vicious.
Bishop takes b3.
Yeah, funny enough, it's like as if this were a g6 pawn or something, g3 pawn. You're coming in, getting like a fool's mate type scenario, hitting the diagonal. So, okay. Well, he actually took it anyway. He's getting 2 pawns at least right now. So this is where he ends up like with 3 pawns for a piece. Then he sacks more at some point, I think. Okay, so it's got super interesting. He's like, well, look, I have to create some initiative. The only way it looks like here. I guess he probably looked at moves like this. Kind of interesting too. But he wants something. He knows this is coming back. He's going to threaten mate again. You don't want to have to go here. So this is where you really are sensitive to your opponent's ideas. Like, look, either do or die, right? I mean, I suppose you could do this afterwards later on. And then when he comes in, you still do this. Then he moves the king. And then you could probably go here. after you get your bishop activated, but I don't know. We're abandoning so much though, and the queen will take with check, right? We don't need that. So he just does it before this. Oh, and also he picks up this pawn. Ah, that's kind of cool. I like that. So what is going on? It's very tactical. So he takes this. Now the knight would have to move. He didn't take. Well, we have to figure. So obviously he can take whatever he wants. He's provoking the knight to take. So if he doesn't take, that means he gets 3 pawns for the piece with a massive attack. He's mobilizing everything except for this rook. Let's say he castles queen side. Boom, everything's out. White's piece is not so much. I mean, a lot of them are out. Not these ones so much. Okay, just more defensive. Okay, so what if the knight takes? That's tricky. What would happen then? I mean, I suppose queen takes check, right?
Yeah, it seemed like you have to get queen out of there
Yeah, yeah, queen.
to recover the.
Right, you could take. Well, actually, we may not need to. Check this out. If the knight moves away, so he only has a rook and a king, back rank may problems. What happens after?
Sure,
Yeah.
sure.
What happens now?
You have knight c2.
Beautiful. Look, he can't take. You guys see why he can't take? Still back rank problems in center. That's the problem. Well, there's the problem with the centralized king there. Both players have that. I mean, the knight can go here. Similarly, though, the knight could go earlier. Could have helped a bit. Now he decoyed it. So he can't take. Back rank mate coming, right? So, oh, are we walking to a smothered mate? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mate,
yeah,
yeah,
discover check.
it's kind of like in the in Fischer's Game of the Century, had that same possibility. Beautiful. So he saw that,
Smother mate. Okay.
which is why he did. So he probably missed that. Nepo probably missed that. So now he's like, okay, when he played this move. So he didn't really defend against it. Not so easy to defend against it. I don't know. Maybe rook up or something. Then he comes in with the other knight. So you can see this is very problematic right now. There's the knight on a3, right? It was effective tactically, lure the rook there. It pulled him away from b3. Okay, now he got this. Now he's got 3 pawns for a piece. I have a feeling he's just going to castle. Yeah, he does this move. Oh, there's no more mate right now though, because you can't check because the rook goes back. That's the benefit of leaving the knight there. Just it's forced. You can't. I mean, you can't move the knight away. Okay, now if he checks, no, never mind. Yeah, he can come in maybe if he takes on h7, you can castle queenside if you need to. Although right now, no, we still have a mating threat. So he's gonna have, I don't know, he's gonna have to like move his pawn or something. It's quite difficult. It looks like it, right? He can't. No, my bad. He moved his king. Yeah, he can't castle. Back rank mate. He has to play this move. Actually, it's forced. There's no checks. No checks yet. He has to do this force. Okay, then he comes in, but now he doesn't have a mate threat. That's good. No more mate threat on d7. Okay, there he goes. So Magnus is fully mobilized now. Got everything out. He can double his rooks or whatever. He also has, what's another asset? So obviously the king placement, totally safe, almost complete. Well, okay. Oh, there's one drawback, which is like some, light squares. Be a little careful. Actually, that did come up later. If the queen gets to g2 or something, and if you play, you gotta watch out for sacks later on. Some stuff. Maybe a rook comes out. Some stuff on here, this area. But just be a little careful. But his king is obviously right now super safe. And Nepo was like about to walk into mates and stuff. Multiple mating threats. So when he comes here, it's still awkward, right? So not an immediate follow-up, but obviously king safety is superior. One more asset that black has. What's that?
Pass pawns.
Yeah, exactly, Nikki. Yeah, it's double. Yeah, just push this. He's got 2 connected pass pawns. Roll him down. So while he's tangled up, you could just be like 2 more moves. It's looking pretty ominous, right? So yeah, you give him get some free moves. Once you're on the 6th rank, that's getting real difficult. Okay, well that's what happened later, right? He ended up there, and he won. So he sees the good structure. Okay, no more mate threat. He tosses him aside, tosses the queen aside. Okay, it's a trade. Nope. It's just but now he obviously has a nice attack, and this was just when we started the class. Who's already here? The rest of them, they got low on time. Let's just see how he built his kept building. I think it's gonna be pretty straightforward from here. We'll just see the transition into the end game. He's winning. He actually got super crazy. Got crazy. Okay, get closer to queening. And pin the knight, sure. Time down. Okay, now you have ideas with the continuing. Now we could storm on both sides. Well, you went for that idea. Why not? Yeah, it makes sense. Just lock it up. Although you have to watch out, if your queen moves as sacks. So be a little, like I said, there was just that. Earlier the threats here, now the threats here. You can see some. So be a little careful, of course. Don't get too don't overextend yourself. Black's attack. Computer doesn't like that. It's his blunder. He wants H3. But I think if I recall, this was like strong, but this was way better. What was the idea? Make the bishop move. And then what?
If the bishop moves,
Be queen.
then I don't know. I'll say that would be a little
Is,
different.
is the knight coming in at that point with the fork on?
Yeah, that's it. I was
Gives
looking
access to E.
at
Gives
first. I
access-
like this. No, this doesn't do anything. Yeah, at first, no, I thought I had something now.
But the knight has four,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly. Just fork, straightforward tactic. Oh, interestingly, when the bishop's here, you can almost take. You can think about taking. The problem is, see, it takes, you get your queen taken as pin, but you see when you move that, Todd, it's
Yeah.
defensively, you're covering with the rook, so the queen can't even think.
Yeah.
That's nice.
I
So
agree.
defense and attacks. Again, you got to watch out for the light squares. A lot of pressure diagonally and on the file. C5.
Right, but unless you defend with a rook.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So this is a beautiful rook right here. Everything's perfect. Doubled rooks, king is safe enough for now. Just safe enough to allow your attack to continue without getting bothered. Still have the pass pawn for the endgame, as we saw. Endgame insurance, right? We can always use that. Knight forks these, and now we have preponderance of 1, 2, 3 attackers, 2 defenders. Can't bring in more defense. So that would have been nice. Does he have to take? No, he doesn't have to take. That doesn't look healthy though. What do we do? Just looks very uncomfortable if we ever reach the back range. You don't have this anymore.
Yeah, what do we do?
Still looks promising, but I'm like, I don't see the knockout. That works. Throw this forward like a bond. I still don't see an immediate win. I just keep building.
Well, maybe he can just start a chain reaction. Rook takes bishop.
Oh yeah, maybe.
Knight takes him, then the rook takes
Yeah, that's actually what he did. I wonder if this is enough.
and then the queen,
Yeah.
Whoa.
and then the knight.
Bishop will still take it. I mean, he'd be down a rook with some compensation. Interesting still. I don't know what is the move here, if it's that or something else. I know it's awkward because big problem here.
Well, they have to start making exchanges right there if anything's gonna happen.
But black has the luxury of time here
Yeah, he does.
because there's no threat really. Watch out for this point. That's it.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Yeah, I'm gonna check real quick.
Me neither.
No, it agrees. It not taking
Oh
yet,
wow.
but then queen f5 first. That's
Oh
the-
wow.
Yeah,
and then you can't cover. He's coming in threatening mate. That's the killer. Yeah, that's
yeah, that's it.
Oh
Yeah,
wow.
the switch up. You had the right idea, and we just have to switch up the move order.
switch it around, right?
Yeah, that's nice.
Oh.
That's
Yeah.
that was the idea. Okay, well, he didn't do that, but the computer sees that instantly, of course. It's a nice tactical line. He went for this. He ended up doing it, which is still fine. Yeah, it's the same content. Well, I mean, the only difference is he couldn't have gone here. And if he goes here, you have the mate. Now you don't have the mate anymore. But it's still dangerous, but there's no more mate. So what does he do then? Well, it's certainly not as clear anymore. Yeah, it's not as clear anymore.
Well, the queen goes and check. Well, no, it's not as clear.
Yeah, it's not clear anymore. He just has to build, this is still probably winning, but it's not as clear, certainly. But yeah, it would have been nice, but he only has like what? He had under a minute, so we don't blame him. Wait, what's the time? Right here. Yeah, I mean, a couple minutes after this move. Oh, wait, the computer's still saying rook takes f2. And then it's saying rook takes f2. Oh, wait, what?
Wait.
Oh, and then he's like, oh, now you have to deal
Knight
with,
takes.
you have to deal with two things at once. So then
Yeah,
it's go
bring-
back.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And then the same thing. I don't know, it's not a huge difference. But the knight, it's basically saying knight covers C7 instead of C6, making C6 a target. But yeah, it's similar. Can't blame him. He only has a few minutes. He doesn't have to find every computer line, right? Just want to check real quick. All right. But yeah, it's pure tactics at this point. So first it was more positional. Now it's very tactical. And like every move matters, very sharp. Lots of mate threats. So he allows this to happen. Queen comes in. Sacks. But now he gets the, so he was actually down a piece for some pawns. And now he is just down an exchange because he's got the two pieces for the rook. So it's like he's giving them an exchange at the end. I'll close the door a second. That's some noise. Yeah, no, it's just threatening mate.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that does not look healthy. Right.
No, it doesn't.
It's hard to hold this. That's a good move. I mean, obvious move, but okay, at least he's forced. But still, it's like, what do we have? How many pawns are we in? We're up 2 pawns. We gave up this one, but that's still a nice pawn. I mean, he's off balance, completely off balance of stuff like this, knight jumps, so many ideas. Too many mating ideas with the H pawn, the queen, and the knight. And then you use the A pawn potentially as just a deflector. Use it as a decoy. You know, like I say, you make the rook move, you have mating threats on G2 or something. Or
Mhm.
those ideas of even like, let's say you get in.
Yeah, you can
there's an
push it.
mates in 2 different directions.
Mhm.
So even if he's here, you still made him this way anyway. And if the queen is there, so the queen's helping out somehow, like theoretically like this and this. No, the queen would have to be here or something to stop these 2 moves. No, he still goes here. I mean, it's very hard to stop the mate, but even if he did theoretically, you still have like stuff with the A pawn as a decoy. Yeah,
Mhm.
so no matter what, he's like, it's difficult. That's what he did. Queen back. Yep, he did actually. There it goes. Use your wing pawns beautifully. That's a nice finish. Okay, so he's going to trade queens, it looks like. He ends up trading it somewhere. That's, I guess, his only option. So he does actually, that's the idea. Yeah, he saw that, of course, and he needs to cover every square on that available on that diagonal to hold his position. And then he's like lurking. The queen's still lurking. Don't check, because the check doesn't do anything. But we're going to keep going. You know, I'm just going to keep going. We want to actually get, no, this is kind of interesting if you're able to. Then the queen will come back. It doesn't quite, not quite. But we're very close. Hitting light squares. Checks a few times. Oh, he gets rid of this one. But then somehow, how did they reach the end game? Not yet. Aha. Okay, now we have our position. That's
Right, this is where we came in.
Oh, okay.
yeah. 2 pawns. Sure. Sure. He's got so that's a nice move. Just throw that aside. Obviously, you could come up with your king and get it back, but you create fluidity, mobility in those pawns. And that's where he gets D4 it beautifully. That's really beautiful endgame technique. And then he's getting the pawn. Pawn's up. Now, computer says draw until this move. But again, it's just practically speaking, it's incredibly difficult to hold this. Computer says H3 here, just to get a sense. It's just popping up here. But yeah. H3, I guess, to hold him off a little bit. But even then, it looks incredibly difficult to hold. I mean, I guess the idea would be if you start lurking over here, the king will come and take this. And you can't force anything. Again, we don't have like a bishop to block, as we said earlier. I mean, if you have that, you could like nullify the rook in the corner. He does this. Again, it's still similar, it's still close, but Nepo continues to, well, yeah, he moved the rook too far away. Because now, again, it's like earlier we're talking about the force over here against with the pawn and stuff. Now our force is over here. So the rook is stuck is on this side, can't check anymore. And now the king has to deal with all this. And if the rook swings back, we probably end up like taking this pawn anyway. Then we have 3 pawns, or even these 2 maybe. And the king is hard to come back because a lot of fork ideas and stuff, controlling a lot of squares leading the red carpet leading to the queening square. And yeah, if you can just wait in the H pawn, it's real hard to hold. But yeah, right now it's all about the D pawn. And well, he's gonna win the rook. I mean, you could do whichever. He could check first. It's more elegant. Hang the pawn or hang the queen. And then you obviously there's no way to come back and stop the H pawn, right?
Such a pretty little finish.
Game over. Yeah, that's nice. So there's the Magnus game. I'm gonna switch over to the current game. and I'll get some nose spray right now because I'm so congested I can talk back. But yeah, that's interesting. So this guy's been doing really well. This what's his name again? I was saying Noderbeck.
Yeah, Nordic.
What's it again? Abdusattorov or something like that. Abdusattorov from Uzbekistan, right? So 2,700. Pretty. This has been up and coming, skyrocketing. So I always count the pawns first, assuming the pieces are even. It's good to know the pawns, you know, just get a sense. And we can see immediately if there's an extra pawn, which is actually very important. Same colors, again, same colors. The bishop in the corner, that matters a lot in those situations. And the opposite color bishops, it's like they're more used for attacking.
There are two
not-
extra pawns, David.
Oh, my bad. Yeah, central pawn too. So speaking of counting pawns, I could not count. But yeah, I just noticed that pass pawn, but yeah. And this is weak. Now I think it's probably lost, right? The question is how he got here. But that looks lost, doesn't it? I mean, everything's locked down. You don't want to trade the knight, bishop for the knight, because then it's not even possibility of using the opposite color bishops for draw, drawish chances. But as I mentioned, just because you have the opposite color bishops, they're used for attacking purposes when there are more pieces. Often rook and bishop, light square bishop versus rook and dark square bishop, often that's winning too, especially with extra pawns. But bishop versus bishop, this is like a flank pawn or something they can't stop. Those are often drawish, but here it's not drawish really at all. So we trade more pieces. But yeah, he's not going to trade yet. This is covered. He can push at will, but really he's going to make him worry about the H pawn right now. This knight's sidelined. Now, if you came in, you just take him, just get rid of it. Like I said, you trade that off. Now you don't have to think about the opposite color bishops. And eventually you're going to start coming in and, support this guy and come here and create like mating nets or something, or come here and hit this guy. We don't even need to take another. You can just trade this off and start pushing. Yeah, it's game over basically for a strong player. What were you saying, Todd? Todd, you said something?
That was not me.
Oh, I thought I heard someone. Huh? And okay, there's another. Oh, so we're just trying to see. So Carlsen just beat Nepo. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, I'll be right back. Whoa, what is going on? This looks like an Ivanchuk game. It's a really cool. Is it Ivanchuk Aronian? I think it's Ivanchuk against Aronian, or is it Aronian? Maybe they both have a game like that. But there's exchange tag for. But they have this game where they create this. Yeah, I think it's Ivanchuk game. It's
Look
crazy.
at that bishop.
Yes. What's that?
Look at the bishop on e8.
Yeah, speaking of shutting down the bishop, we're not shutting down here, we're shutting down the e5. I mean, look at his pawns. Oh, well, that's funny. I mean, in both cases, he did the exact same thing. It's sacking a piece for how many pawns? Okay, this time I think I could count. Is it 2 pawns? Same as last time, basically. At one point, I think it was 3, but it ended up being 2 pawns for a piece. Same concept. This looks sort of more convincing. I don't know. I mean, he has a lot of work to do, though. He's done that. I mean, he's so clustered, but everything is kind of, you just have to break it down. But like you have to, like the linchpin of bishop and stuff, Bishop holds a lot. The bishop holds the knight holds the rook, the bishop also holds the pawn, which blocks the file, the queen and king defend the bishop. Yeah, it's like, how do you get there though? I mean, you get there by steamrolling him, but you have to be super good. Now he's pinned, so it's not easy at all. Oh no. Apparently it says he's losing. I don't know. I hope he doesn't find it. But I mean, I would. Oh, wait a second.
Isn't D5 tough to deal with?
This one?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's
That knight's holding so many things down,
possibly, yeah. Try and find the best move for black. I'll be right back. Try to find. It said, unfortunately, it says black's because I like what it's kind of interesting because in one case he sacks a piece for some pawns and he wins. In this case, he sacks a piece for some pawns, and it seems like he's going to win. It seems great. The only thing about it, though, like I said, is you got this pawn steamrolling, but you're like, black is so congested, but just what if he sacks a piece back or something, And white's king is very airy over here, it's drafty. So it's like, it's not easy to win this at all. Oh, my bad. Hold on a second. What was I thinking? It's 2 pieces for rook. What am I thinking? I'm not counting pieces correctly. So it's 2 pieces. So it's actually pretty similar material then, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's a rook and 2 pawns. The 2 pieces. Generally speaking, you like the 2 pieces. Nakamura has a nice game like that. He has a rook and 2 pawns. But
that bishop, the black bishop is the dark squared bishop is hard to be a piece right now.
Yeah,
like a half a piece, quarter piece.
I mean, like, maybe it has chances in the future.
Yeah.
Maybe, but yeah, or maybe again, like, it's just pressure. Well, you'll see how it may come into play right here. I don't know why what was he thinking? Why would he do that? He just didn't need this move, you know?
Do you think he? Oh, you may block with D2?
Yeah, like,
Or D2?
why are you walking into a pin, especially if it's creating some problems here? You'll see another problem too. So I'll be right back. Try to think about what the move is. Like, why is this a blunder with the refutation? 1 sec.
I mean, D2 just seems tough. I mean, D5 seems tough to deal with though.
Pawn D5, yeah,
Because it, like, if you move the knight, you're leaving the rook hanging with check. You can't do that.
I actually think
can he take, he can't take, I mean.
bishop
he loses
captures
his-
E5 might be good. You can't take because then it'll be.
Yeah, you lose your knight.
Yeah, I think for black, this black move bishop captures E5.
Yeah, so
Or rook captures D4. No wait, rook captures D4.
yeah, I definitely like the idea of like trying to roll your pawns down. Just, what else? Anything? D5.
So D5, then it's
Wait. You can't do rook
D8?
captures D4 because of the bishop. So like bishop captures E5.
I'm sorry, I had to step away. What is the challenge here?
I just came back to what do you guys see? Richard, what'd you see?
Bishop captures E5.
Yeah, you can't take back. So there you go, Todd. The sleeping bishop. The sleeping giant.
Yeah,
Well,
I
that's
need to
only
wake
because you
now.
played this weird move. You know, sometimes Magnus does that once in a while. He's a human, right? But it's just I don't understand that why he would do this. Like, maybe he saw perpetual. I don't know. But that's the problem. Like, I sense, you know, he has the pawns, but they're very far. They're very advanced, which means his king has. It's interesting. You know, it's really interesting. We're seeing these themes in both games of king safety based on where your pawns are. In the other case, it was more like the pawns were there, but it was just like kind of whole, like we talked about, then like C2 pawn, and Magnus did end up immediately exploiting that very quickly, right? By taking here. In this game, it's like, I don't know, maybe let's see what he did. Let's go back. Well, we're on move 30 right now. This is move 30. But yeah, we have to go back because I mean, did he resign? I think it's bad. No, I mean, it's not over. It's certainly not over, but his whatever pressure he had, remember we talked about like, okay, it's tricky, but you have to try and do something. Well, the luxury of having well, the 2 pieces for the rook, you can give up 1 for some pawns and maybe get something equalish, you know? Like where if you give up the 2 pieces for the rook, you're gonna be down in exchange. It's funny, I mean, we're seeing so many similarities, right? In both games, which is what happened in the other game, right? Because he was up the piece and then he ended up just being down a piece, leading to down exchange with multiple pawns. Yeah, it's so funny. It's so funny. King safety issues, multiple pawns for 2 pieces. Well, rook and 2 pawns for 2 pieces. So let's see what he does. He found it. I just was rooting for Magnus because I don't know. Well, you know, maybe this time he messed it up. Let's see. I think maybe Nepo played brilliantly. Some move right here. Let's see what he did. I mean, because Magnus did expose his king. Let's go back. And Nepo just kind of hung tight. Like, okay, I have a really bad bishop. But he's like, he must have been so happy when Magnus played this move. Boom. How much time did he spend? He spent barely any time. 12:29 to 12:12. This increment too, I assume, right? So he barely spent. He's like, boom. I don't know why. Yeah, that's just crazy. Okay. King C2. So at least Nepo's still in this. Otherwise, he gonna
Check.
break it up. Okay. I mean, computer says he's up 5 points for
Who's up 5?
Black's up
Nepo?
5 points right now.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, who knows? Maybe Magnus finds some miraculous defense. Computer says 5 points up. But if you're playing with black, it's like, well, I don't know. I mean, I certainly like black here. Yeah. No, it's nice to have because that bishop is out. The knight, you know. Yeah, maybe the queen comes back. Everything's you gotta be careful though. I think he's threatening this move, right? You take this. So it's tactical, and there's, yeah, actually, no, if I were playing black, I'd be like, all right, I got to get myself out of this I'm kind of tied up still. If I can finally get out of this, then I should be winning. Wait, is there like a queen sack on D2 to trade now? See that?
What can you take?
Ooh.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
Queen
never
sack or
treat the,
discovery or something like that. I mean, he has to take.
Yeah, queen for 2, queen for
Then you'd be up.
yeah.
You'd know. Would it be 2 pieces again?
Oh,
It
wait,
would
how do
still
I
be
get
2 pieces for a rook. Look, I think so. Look,
yeah. And
doing.
that's funny. Yeah, it's still 2 pieces for, and now it's all.
Huh.
Technically, black has like an extra point, but it's an end game. It's not. I mean,
Or tie.
I can imagine black pressing for a win here, especially against a weaker player. Probably Magnus finds some way to hold, to go counterplay or something, and rook bothers the minor pieces. But still, I mean, that is 2 connected pass pawns. But I think he's got better than that. Let's see. So he doesn't really want that because he's kind of giving up the win. So what does he have? Oh, he played bishop b6, I think. Yeah, the thing is, but still,
Pricey.
as you can see, he's tangled up. So like until he fully, that looks like the consolidating idea though, because he's defending everything for now. Well, rook can take here though. No, it can't because it's hanging. And then if the rook takes here on d8, you take back with the tempo on the queen, and the queen has to move,
Oh, well.
right? And then, yeah, you're sort of consolidated at that point. And you still have to be careful though. The rook might give itself up. Get the 2. Let's say you give up the rook for 2 pieces. Although now the pawns are even. And here, right, technically, I think black's king is a little safer now, right? You can tuck on G, whatever. He has the 2 pawns. Magnus's pawns are just a little more extended. King is still very out there, right? Imagine we can get this guy of G6 or something. No, we'd be giving up in that case. But still, I think the white king is a little more exposed still, right? So here we are. They've played a few moves. Actually, the computer said this for a second. I just have, okay, I'll leave it open for now. But takes.
Queen takes. Move.
Ouch. I mean, yeah, he doesn't have anything. No, he doesn't have anything. And the 2 bishops are so strong as to. I mean, it's a little scary though. So, and like I said, anything could happen. Anything could happen in this kind of position, even if the computer still says minus.
Would you move bishop
could
to
happen.
h4? Some sort of skewer bishop to black dark square bishop h4.
Maybe. Does he have something?
Looks
Does
nice.
he have a check or perpetual or something?
I mean, it takes.
There's not enough. There's not enough there. The bishop can block or king can run. So what does white have anything? He just blocks. Yeah, I guess not. And as for this, no, there's no time to move. You just take it. You can't leave the diagonal. So he has to give up the rook then. He has to give up the rook for the bishop, right? If he moves, you just take it, and that's game. I mean, again, take a little work, but the king, you'll just have to eventually cover like queen here or something, and then you just push, push, supported by the, or you'll just make a mating attack with these 2 against the king instead of mating attack. So what did he actually do? Let's go to the live game. I think this is the live. Yeah, this is coming up to the live position. Now you always have to look for, do I want an end game? Again, I think those end games are pretty drawish though. Yeah, you want to attack him more. I mean, unless you already start advancing your pawns, which you probably don't want to do like Magnus anymore. We're in like a very late middle game situation, right? There are a lot of mating chances here. It doesn't feel like really an end game. Transitional phase, maybe. We're going to trade off some more pieces to get into an end game. But this feels like a middle game for black, right? He has a lot of pieces flying around attacking white's king. So queen e3, queen g2.
Did he go queen? I'm sorry. Did he go queen h3 like with the plan of just going like a3 or something? Is that his idea?
Oh, maybe.
I was just curious.
He also doesn't want to trade. He doesn't want to trade.
Okay.
Well, maybe, yeah. I think I'd agree with that. Or even g2, which is that's what he did actually.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like, I can trade whenever I want, basically.
I see.
But if you're gonna trade, you should trade in the most favorable circumstances. Yeah, but I think I agree. Like, let's say, I don't know, let's say they want here or something. There's just so many tactics if we worry about the bishop coming in and stuff. But this looks annoying. I suppose he has like king back or something. I mean, yeah, again, look at the black king. It's actually now that, and again, Todd, that bishop was, yeah, it was bad. Once he gets out, you can see the advantage for black. That was
Yeah.
the only thing that white had, but it just like his position was too rickety. That was the problem, right?
The old rickety position.
I like that. Yeah,
I believe I specialize in that.
David. You always say some funny stuff.
Well, it's like it's
Rickety.
like a crumb. It's like your house is being eaten up by termites, you know?
Yeah, I prefer to make my positions out of balsa and a little bit out of rattan.
On what?
A little balsa and rattan, and that really it makes for a good rickety position.
Yeah, yeah, not some sand in Florida or something.
That's right. That's right.
So wait, this is what happened here. So you went to, I think so, yeah. Check. This is like, because I have like this has sidelines and the other thing. The main line is the sideline. Okay. So king b3. I don't know. Like I said, though, it's like it's so bad for Magnus, but I mean, how much time? The problem is that Magnus, he keeps getting into time pressure. So he has plenty of time. He has 7 minutes. He has, I mean, this is an enormous advantage, you know, these connected pass pawns. The bishops also create safety for the king. So like, for example, let's say he reroutes his bishop to g7 or like f6 and king g7. Right now, the bishop stops. Let's say, imagine in a position like this, it's important to imagine the setup you want. Yeah, so we could easily go bishop d8 to f6. Attack here. King could easily go up here. There's not really anything. He doesn't have time to like he's not going to mate him on the h file anyway. Your queen right now, even if you just have anything on the diagonal, okay, let him check you, just move like in a dragon. It doesn't do anything. If you move to f8, you come out. He can't no further checks anyway. Bishop's on g7, whatever. So there's nothing there. He can, at will, he can start pushing, like let's say one of the pawns, leave the other one to guard, start pushing this guarded by the bishops, but really just guard everything and like work on the mate threats, you know, and then eventually, once he's tied, again, kind of like Magnus used the flank pawn. So he's able to tie up the king, worry about those diagonal threats. And then he had the pawn on the wing, right? The wing pawn. Yeah, this is just bad. See what he does. And maybe he'll mess it up too. You never know. But he has so much time, he shouldn't mess it up. Just feel some pressure, maybe. Let's see how he does under pressure. Oh, that looks nice. Yeah, it's getting tougher and tougher. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, right? Just tuck the bishops back. It's very important in positions like this to be good.
Yeah, exactly.
You
like
want to
you
be,
said.
yeah, grandmaster technique. You already know you have a winning position in terms of statically. So you just want to, just lock everything down. Like I talked about the Karpov bishops, right? Stuck them back. Yeah, and then just has nothing. And then so you just have a free hand. Obviously, you can't do this. Like in the other line, we looked at on the attack over here or something. He takes with check. I mean, you might even go here anyway, but that could be interesting actually. Then just go rook here. If he moves the queen, he gets taken. So he's just gonna basically just gonna keep pummeling him over here. And then again, and just use this asset. Now, if you didn't have the pawn, the extra, like maybe only one or something, it would be a bit tough because maybe black or white can hold these pawns. But even then, you can just keep swinging, make them punch drunk in this kind of scenario. So anyway, it's just going to probe the position, the cat and mouse, and there's the f. We just push the f pawn eventually. I think that's it. Not much to do. Bishop g7 almost works, but then he has the rook check. No. Interesting. Now he's not going to mess with the queen trade because yeah, he doesn't need the queen trade because he just keeps attacking because he already knows this is winning, just pushing f pawn. No need for extra, some confusion. Okay, this has been played. And then we can look at the other one. The one where, Hikaru won. Remember, Hikaru had that was the 2 pawn up. We'll just look at how he got the 2 pawns. And these are fascinating games, aren't they? So imbalanced. Huge material imbalances, whether it's knight versus bishop or like pieces for pawns for pieces. And king very, huge imbalances in king's safety. So like, again, Nepo was so tied down, but his king was never really in jeopardy this game, right? Wait, did we look at how we got there? Did we briefly look at it? I don't think we did we? How we kind of like drew his pieces back? We didn't. Oh, this was this, right? No, we saw this all right. Wait, did we miss something though? Oh, no, this was the same position, but it was the other side. Now Magnus has white. Interesting. I guess black did well in both cases. So where did Magnus overextend himself? He has a different strategy though. So Nepo kind of I don't know. You let him into a5. He's figuring, okay, let's not go to c5. We'll go to a5. So he's covering c5 anyway.
I think the blunder was the rook.
The
To
rook went.
the rook to d2. I mean, this was later on in the game.
Yeah, but even how he got there, let's just see real
Yeah.
quick. And look at the other.
Yeah.
Even how he got there, like the piece, the sack. Let's see. How did he sack this time? I mean, I think Magnus is doing pretty well out of the opening, right? Again, pushed his pawns though. You got to watch out for this guy. And if you play this one, same problem. Bishop, bad bishop. So that's the thing. You gain space, but you put your pawns on dark squares. You play here, he takes the bishop. So it's hard to play here. Bishop comes out. That's weird. Knight goes here. Well, he's gonna get hit by c. Nah. See, that's another example. Like you go c5, come in the middle. Artificial support point. Goes e4, just take it. And the bishop's coming out. Light square domination. Was someone saying something? Richard?
No, I'm good. I'm good. Thank
Okay.
you.
So
It might just be me with my terrible connection over here. It might be just
Ah.
like, so that might be.
I thought I heard Richard. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I thought I saw it light up or something. All right. So queen c, whatever. As long as you didn't have something. Okay. So bishop f2. Queen e8. Queen f3. Okay, well, yeah, this one Magnus is just going for B pawn, B file, kind of bayonet type attack. Okay, wow. It's a nice strike in the center. So maybe this is where Magnus gets some central pawns for a piece though. Let's see. Takes. Well, he's opening up the D file against his own king. So you got to be careful here. And there's a fork threat. The problem is though that Nepo doesn't really have any threats with the bishop or something. Like once you deal with this, you have to take though, essentially. Because otherwise this is coming. So you take. Okay. I mean, it looks reasonable for Nepo, right? I mean, he's kind of swinging around. Yeah, Nepo won. We'll go back real quick. But yeah, that was over. He's kind of swinging around and Magnus, and there's the king safety issue, right? So who knows? Maybe the piece sack was kind of in desperation at some point. Let's see. Yeah, why not? I mean, as we saw in the game, he really did anything. Nepo has a good defense. Oh yeah, see, the king is just, Magnus's play is super risky. You can see like Nepo's king is really safe actually, right?
Yeah.
It's really, I mean, only g6, but I think he ended up doing this. So it's really hard to touch his king. Magnus, not so much. I mean, you have like some pawn thrusts, maybe even b6, a5, yeah, b5, c, yeah, you have too many pawns. Well, here you bypass. I think that may have happened. Let's see. See the key moment when he sacked the piece. Ah, there it is. Right, for two, right. I meant the piece for 2 pieces for a rook and 2 pawns. So that's like pretty reasonable. But the problem is like there's more open lines against his own king. So it happened when the knight went. The computer says he's winning, but Magnus is up 2 points. I just see the
You're
evaluation.
greedy though.
This move?
No, I'm just saying like, but the old computers used to just be greedy, remember? But it's
Right,
like-
it's getting a little bit of some pawn, but now it's better at, the position.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, certainly, but still, I just don't like Magnus's king. I don't like his king placement at all. It's never going to really, I just look again, comparative king safety. That was very important. Because again, even when he started getting his pawns rolling, the king was always, it became really, the problem is when you're like that, pawns roll forward, the more you push, see it, Todd? The more your pawns push forward, thanks for coming, the more your king gets exposed, right? So where we are, here we are. Let's just quickly look at, so that's the piece. And then let's see how we got, I'm sure Magnus, it says at 3 points. So Magnus really messed this up. He could have had him. So yeah, funny enough, the computer says just go rook h1. And just like, it doesn't do anything right now, but it's just pressure. Maybe you start, well, you could just start doubling and triple up on the H file. Yeah.
Which was the one weakness that you pointed out, which was the G6, remember? You're like, black safe, but the only thing is G6, but meh. And then, yeah, and then so there it is, right?
Then he actually moves away from G6, ironically.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, okay.
But, well, I mean, I guess you can come back to it. Like if the knight moves, he has knight f4.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm off the ball today, excuse me.
No, you're good. No, I mean, there's a lot of options. No, but you can come back to it. But I think it just maybe just look at the bishop.
Let's see. Yeah, that's good.
Bishop. No, it's not easy at all. It's not easy at all. Well, maybe if the bishop comes here, maybe you eventually try to trade it, at which point you have an attack on h8. Because I mean, as of now, the queen just sits there. But I mean, no, I think if you do triple, and let's say you triple, yeah, that's just threatening to win the bishop. King f7 with the king, it's a little sketchy. I don't know, it's very complicated. Let's see. Which is why, you know, in a rapid game, but now it's become like a normal position, right? This could have come out of like whatever. Could, I don't even know what opening this would have come from. But yeah, some type of English or something. Maybe a ready, right? C4, B4. Some English with an B4 attack, right? But in English where you castle queen. Yes, this is actually not resembling many types of regular positions. Random pawn structure. No, it's just an open, crazy position, basically. Getting pretty open. Imagine like white blasts with E4 or something. How did he get he fixed his structure though? Okay, that looks annoying. Okay, he gave the exchange back. Oh, there's that. This is what happened here. Oh, then he took. What's he have in mind? Well, he got the situation. It's like, why would you trade? He gave back the exchange. Wait a second. So now it's like, yeah, now we know. Wait, what? What's the piece count? Yeah, 2 bishops for a rook. That's still pretty good. So right here. Oh, because he never took it. Yeah, he didn't take it yet. That's the thing. He's like, go ahead, take it. Go ahead and have it. Because he liked his knight, right? He just liked his knight. Interesting. Even the computer says rook h1, ignore the rook. That is a good knight. But then he's like, no, I really want to get rid of your knight for the rook. Okay. Yeah, that's right. I thought he had, no, that's where it was. That's where he had the 2 pieces. I mean, but then again, well, he fixes Magnus's pawn structure, but those 2 bishops just, computer says even. Now actually likes black a little bit. Yeah, again, it's airy. And then he blunders immediately. Should have gone, yeah, I just don't understand this move.
Yeah, like you said with the D2.
Yeah, why would you go on it?
Richard, I think, and you both
Yeah,
said
just
the
go
D2
for
was
it.
like really weird.
Yeah, it just walks in. And again, I think you guys mentioned you just take this. It's probably playable. Right? Oh, obviously. Oh, maybe that's why he's like, oh, you can't do it. And then if he's just looking at this side, he probably got fixated on this. It's like, oh, you can't do it. You just like, it's common, you fixate on something, but he forgot about, no, I just leave my rook there and I sack. No, maybe he thought he saw something. No, you know what it was. I'm guessing he probably thought that he had D5 to remove the knight. He probably thought he had that, then he just missed something in his calculations. What do? Do you go bishop f4 or something? What do you do? No, but you're not actually threatening to take because he still takes first before you get the rook, right? You take, you expose this, right? So I don't know. It just doesn't do anything. Oh, he has that. He has that first. Well, I was saying bishop f4. Yeah, even why not? Bishop c3, sure, why not? Just round to the king a little more of a mating net. Saying takes, and then I don't know, it's just kind of bad. And you still can't take, but you can't move. It's funny. White can't take, but black can't move away either. If he moves the knight, he loses the rook. If he loses the rook, he loses the knight because so it's a bit of a conundrum. What if he goes rook c8? Maybe he doesn't have enough. So for example, if he goes rook c8 now, maybe he doesn't have enough. You just take and takes. And no, there's no more. Okay, he has this threat. See, checks. Does he just avoid the checks? No, he has another check. Is he gonna get out? Maybe. Kind of runs around. Crazy. Looks like he must get mated. Maybe not. And then there's a huge crisis here. Or maybe the moves okay.
Before the queen came down to check him, you could have taken the D rook down to check him. I
think he was in check first. Let me see.
Okay, let's see.
No, yeah, you didn't have time. You didn't have time. Because the moment you open it, yeah. This is crazy though. You can keep running. And then I guess you're escaping all the checks. Wait, where do you go eventually? We are covering the D file. And you'll use like castle behind this pawn or something like that. Can you go? No, you're gonna get in trouble if you go here. Oh, if you go here, he trades queens, huh? Can he trade queens? What is going on? Is he like, what is going on? I'm so confused. Oh, you block.
Oh my God.
This is crazy.
Happening?
So check. You have to play very precisely here. No, wait, no, you don't go to A8. Well, you just go to C7 first. Okay. Yeah, it's very hard to calculate. I guess you get sense though. You just have to think about, okay, I can block this file with my bishop. I can block the queen check with my rook. I have bishop, I have this covered, file and bishop. You'd have to like think more like that, more conceptually instead of like, okay, what exactly are the moves? More like, how do I block the lines? More of a setup thing, right? And then you're up a piece and it's a mess. Does this? Yeah, I mean, this is pretty good though, because you're gonna, again, you're probably gonna win this pawn. And you're gonna win. So like he's got these, but you know, he's in trouble. And then you can come over, I think. You're probably gonna win this pawn. And then you deal with these, but you're gonna like win the rook. But if you win the rook, then you easily stop those, but two, you have to block it. Anyway, this is crazy. So okay, let's just take a quick look because we already saw the really good position. Where was it? We saw this. Oh, that's a nice attack. So, but there you go. Remember we talked about this? We talked about undermining this pawn. F pawn is moved, same concept. See there, he undermines it directly. Beautiful. And you can see that when he takes, the knight axis is E3. Remember the same concept? Both the same position, all strong. Beautiful. You guys see that?
Yeah.
So the moment he takes, does he take? No, he doesn't. But he does play knight T5 in 2 moves. So he's just completely undermining his dark square. That's nice. Okay, so you see, yeah, maybe they understand. I don't know. They are analyzed and decided on the same thing. They're like, we're going to go with this idea of F pawn and G pawn. This Banco type thing. Now he actually trades. Doesn't go for the endgame. He's like, go ahead, trade queens if you want. But again, no one went. They're having a shootout, like a standoff. Nobody wants to take because they take the file with the rook. So it's like a game of chicken. You just ignore each other. But then he has fork threat. So somehow this is looking pretty good for Nakamura. I like him out of the opening. He has threats, he has the initiative. Now he has the file. He has the file, he has a fork threat. That's where the knight goes to A5, just like, remember, so you're seeing the same things. That's what Magnus did. Now B7's hanging, no more C6 to cover, right? No more of this move, because he's given up that chance. So, Richard back again, all right. So simply goes King C7, B4, C4. Makes sense. And that's where he gets to C3. Beautiful. So like right out of the opening, Nakamura just got this huge advantage, huge initiative. Welcome back, Richard. We're just taking a quick look at how Nakamura. So it's just really interesting to see how they mold this position, purely understanding of pawn structure. So Richard, just to go back for 1 second to show you. No, actually it's about to come up. Well, the same thing happened, but I don't know why he took. Yeah, I don't know why he took on a couple of weird decisions. Now, it wasn't as bad as Magnus's rook d2, but it was more like strategically. Just again, it doesn't do anything for white. I don't think so. Doesn't seem to help him much. Oh, maybe he had something in mind. But the bishop h4, again, these points are really important. Once the knight moves, it's only defended by the king. So this is a very interesting setup. I really like this because you both have weaknesses to work with adjacent to the king, a caddy corner or whatever to the king, right? So, yeah. Very annoying for white though. Computer says even. I like black. Practically speaking, I like black, don't you? More threats, right? White has to be real cautious. And here we go, Rich. Remember we were talking about this idea I just showed right here. So we talked about first idea was the attack on the B pawn, no more C6 ideas. So he has to go King C7. Similar to Magnus in 95. Secondly, seems like a dangerous looking move, like, oh, I'm going to strike at you. And they're like, what do you like? This just helps black. There's no follow-up with the B pawn. So this is just irresistible. Oh, he goes here first. I guess he could have gone C, but he goes, oh no, because then he enables immediate knight T5 whenever he wants. Because the follow-up must be a knight T5, as we're talking about again. Remember though, if he hadn't moved to F pawn, well, first of all, the bishop wouldn't have been able to come out. But so he has to move it eventually, this one to this one. But it's like you can't. Every pawn move. This is a good example. Every pawn move is a weakness. Creates it. Like again, even here they're weak, right? They're weak here. They're only guarded because there's a pawn. It's just harder to reach them. You kind of like imagine your pawns like this. Those are all weak. They're just more. They're not any different from these ones. They're just more accessible, right? They're just easier to reach. So these are weak. Now these are accessible more than the others because there are no. Well, there's no. Oh, these ones rather. No, all of them. But these ones are only guarded by the king when the knight moves. Whereas this one. Well, the knight moves in guard to this one, but still, it's right in front of the king, like we saw the mate threat on Nepo and Carlsen, right? So, you know, made ideas there. So that could be a focal point. They can all be focal points of attack against the king. Right in front of the king. Okay, so anyway, really interesting stuff. So obviously Nakamura sensed that. Boom. That's the decisive move, I feel like. Just feels very strong. Move that gives him an edge. Very huge initiative. Okay, so he goes A3. And not to mention, you look at all the squares for the knight. Well, knight D5 especially, but let's say he hops in with one, then the other comes. And remember, we talked about the F5. We see all the same themes. Remember, we talked about E3 with F5 and C4 coming in here. Was that Magnus? I think it was Magnus that could do that. Yeah, he comes in with the knight. So wait, it's like the same game. You know, remember in the other game though, the pawn was Nepo, right? It captured this way. And Magnus created rigidity. No, that was the first win by Magnus, where he had black. And then we also saw a win by black, by Nepo, right? So black just keeps winning, basically, working out for black. Okay. So this is different though. He doesn't take. Maybe he saw what happened in the other game. He's like, okay, let's do this. And then he takes. I just like this for black though. What is he supposed to do? I mean, white is in trouble. Black is dominating, right? Why is it okay? Let's break this down. Why is it so good for black? What are some of the advantages that Nakamura has?
Well, the bishop can go to F3, checking the king, which the rook will probably take him, and then the rook on G can go down and check him.
Oh, you have ideas. There's only one defense. Lynn, what's the only defense to this concept? This tactical idea. If black now checks, white has one defense. Do you see it?
Yeah, the bishop would just go to E.
Yeah. Yeah, there is that. I mean, it looks awkward, but he does have that. The other thing is but your idea is the skewer, rather. He can't come up because you'll take the rook and then you win the exchange out of that. I love that bishop though. You know, I mean, this is a tactical weakness, we'd say. It's not there yet, but it's a tactical weakness. Again, diagonals leading to the king. Remember in the other game, he literally had to play E3 Nepo to get D.
Well, he probably could just bring that bishop up. I mean, the rook up to G, knock that G4, take the bishop away. He's a defender, so you take him away. I mean, it's more than one move. It's not enough there now, but if you maneuver a little bit, you get rid of the defender bishop, and then that may work.
Well, you can even come in here, hit this one. Oh, I guess then he might.
Yeah, you could do that.
Oh, he comes here, then you check him. He's not bishop back anymore. But yeah. No, I was looking at this too. You know, like you mentioned this, maybe here, and then H5, H4, you break through anyway. Maybe. But really work in those light squares. You have to finish your development. You can't go here yet, probably, because the bishop takes. Well, that's your idea. Go here, kick him back somewhere, and then come out. Well, it depends what he does about this pawn.
I mean, it's more than one move situation. So
yeah, exactly. It's a build.
You can take the bishop right down to G2 and threaten the rook right there. Make him have to move or get captured, whatever. You know, I mean,
but as you said though, you could keep building. You don't have to do it right away, right?
Yeah, you have to build it in. You know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Rook here. You can hit
because he doesn't have a mating net. He doesn't have at this point, a win until he makes some maneuvers.
Right, exactly. But this is a pressure, kind of building pressure scenario. But this bishop is real strong. Again, look at the comparison. Comparing this end of color bishops, but black ends up picking the pawns. That's such a strong bishop on D5 though, compared to this one. And you could just play B6, kick him back, and then the reason would be what would it be? I saw something there. No, I don't need to help his knight. You don't need to help his knight come back. Actually, just need to deal with this one.
Okay, we'll leave.
Maybe your idea, Lynn. Or how about this? Oh, it's a fork. That's a fork. Because you hit this and then you take a 10. Yeah, there you go. And then again, at some point, Lynn should go for this or something. I would like to just get it in, do some stuff here. Even if it's a sack, you might even sack this pawn and come behind and come in. Or at that point, we chase it out. Man, I don't think we need we don't need stuff like this. If you need to, you can play this first, bishop don't get take. But I think we have more of a dynamic tactical scenario. It's not static. So we probably don't even need to deal with this pawn apart from like attacking the bishop and just keep going. But now we go rook G2, and then we can take the pawn. Hit the that way. Now we hit it that way. So keep it under pressure. And yeah, that's looking pretty bad. And you can see, okay, he got this pawn. Look at the line squared weaknesses though. Oh, and you could do your move if you want. Again, only do it when you're ready, but I really want to get my other rook in the game. That's
Yeah.
just the
Yeah,
This should be an instinct, right? This
Yeah,
instinct,
looks
just mobilize. And then create mating threats soon enough, actually.
yeah.
I'm thinking about what the knight can do, but I mean,
Knight go to C4.
well, you could if you want to trade it off. I think that's what he ended up doing at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd rather just like let him sit there on the side. Oh, what about this? You can start mobilizing like that to E4 or G.
Mhm.
I'd rather do that because I don't see him doing anything. Except for,
E4 looks like a
you
nice
know what it
little
is?
spot for him.
Was that?
E4 looks like a nice spot for that knight.
Yeah, there is C. Oh, watch out for C. There's one resource. C.
Mhm.
Suddenly that double pawn goes to work. Yeah, so maybe we do that idea then. Yeah, maybe let me just do that. And then we get our rooks in. We have domination. Great scenario for opposite color bishops. We're going to be attacking with our bishop. Mating ideas too, just completely tied down. And again, the bishop can come here, cover the H1 square, which means you can't get the rook to
Just
stop.
own those files, yeah.
All he's got is the bishop. If I win the bishop then. All right, let's see. Tie. And again, outside pass pawn time. That's we're seeing like 5 themes that keep coming up, right? Like multiple, yeah. Piece imbalances, pieces for pawns. We're seeing certain weak square scenarios, sideline knights using the wing pawns as decoys, relative king safety, knights versus bishops. We see a lot of things. Okay.
It's interesting to make these plans out of these like almost chaos, like it's like chaos, like you kind of like it's just like a potpourri of things going on.
Mhm.
And then like figuring out like the strengths and weaknesses. It's very useful.
Right. You gotta break it down, see clarity in that. And then it does become clear. You know, you
Yes.
like create like understanding the position and know that this is a good move. When you understand the structure. I mean, it's just like smashing his pawn structure. It makes sense pattern. Pretty straightforward, but also understanding like E3 and D2 attack, right? And also clearance. You're clearing the first of all, you don't want to take and help him out. You're gonna push and you want to go C3. It's just sensible. But you also clear the C4 square. You happen to be hitting the H2 pawn for what's worse. He moves, doesn't want to lose it, I guess. Okay, so anyway, here we are. Let's see how you. So he trades this one. He trades off the awkward.
Starting to.
He trades off the awkward. I mean not the awkward. He trades off the active one. And then castles queenside H5. Then he just pushes. It's just done. I think it's just done. Because his rook's out of play, his knight's out of play, his bishop's blocking the rook, right? His king's not doing anything.
Yeah, this
Yeah, he's done. I think it's done. Now it's just technique, really. Just, oh, there you go. Enough of that.
yeah,
Oh,
you're just gonna
smart,
comp all those
smart.
pawns.
Yeah, I don't know why he gave it away. That's a smart move because he's not, again, he doesn't need to create opposite. He'd love to have a knight versus bishop. The knight's gonna hop all over the place. Bishop's terrible, really. The bishop's blocked by the F and the D pawns. If you push it to D5 eventually, well, especially if you take this, you ever push it to D5, it becomes a fixed target on D5. If he doesn't go to D5, it blocks his own bishop. So damned if you do, damned if you don't. Okay, wait, what is he doing? What is he doing? He's just giving away all his pawns. I guess wait, he's literally just throwing all of his pawns away. That was ridiculous. Did he have
Is
to?
he just like tilting?
Yeah, like what is he doing? Did he need to do that? Like, okay, I don't know what he's doing. And then he gives away this one. It's like I know I'm gonna lose anyways, so just finish me off.
Oh my god, yeah, is he just tilting? It looks like
That's
he's
just strange. It's
Oh,
just-
yeah.
That's probably what he was thinking. I know I'm losing. Let me just go.
yeah, just whatever, just
Well,
take me.
I mean, I don't know what he had in mind. Maybe some desperate draw attempt, but he's hitting this pawn. And if you go here, he's going to take and then take this one. So it's like, and if you move this way, you could take this one. So
Okay.
I guess he gets one pawn back. But remember, the knight wasn't doing anything on B7 anyway. No, he went here and then he resigned because he's like, all right, I can take this pawn. I'm not going anywhere. I have no counterplay. This doesn't do anything. And I go here and take more pawns. I'm gonna be down like 4
Yes.
pawns. Oh, and actually, there's just forget about the pawn. Just push. Like I said, you're gonna get. He can't actually stop this move. You can even. It doesn't matter. Just ignore that. Goes here. Let's say he attacks. Just go back with the bishop. Probably. You actually corral his knight.
Mhm.
And then yeah, he's about to win. He's just gonna win. No, he's gonna throw more pieces at him. But no, he could just win. Pawn. He could push, attack it. What if you just push? Easy enough, right? Or you can probably, is this even worse? He just has to go back now. Yeah, there's your bishop dying. But yeah, I mean, simple chess, just win the bishop and totally winning position, up a piece and two pawns. And 1 pawn, but yeah, well, it will be 2 pawns if you want it to be. Anyway, completely winning. Knight is still corralled, and then you start like hopping in with your knight, and yeah, you can, but you can definitely just well, you can create 2 connected pass pawns, or you can probably just win this pawn pretty easily. I like my rook on the second. So anyway, those are pretty cool games, huh? They are taking a break, it looks like. I think they're taking a break.
David, I want to ask you an elementary 960 question, okay? In the initial setup on the back rank, is it a consistent random placement all each and every time you play, or
That's a
is it
great question. I was gonna ask that.
each game random each game?
Yeah, that's the idea. Fischer Random Chess. So they don't like, yeah, you can pick a random position, but I don't even think they pick it. I don't. It's like you roll the roulette. You know, it's like rolling the, what do you call it? The wheel.
Russian roulette.
Yeah, oh, Russian roulette.
Roulette.
Yeah, depending on who's playing, I guess. Yeah. So I think that's what they do. I don't think they get to hand pick it. I mean, you could just say like, oh, I want position 493 if you don't know. But yeah, they probably just press something like kind of like how on Lee Chess, you start a game. They can literally go to Lee Chess and just say play a 960 game. It'll give you a random position. Or they can, yeah, like they pick a lot.
Each time you could get a random position.
Yeah, that's the idea. So it's randomized. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Obviously, the position itself is randomized, but in terms of which one of those randomized positions, I think it's randomized too. I would assume so.
Okay, so there are more than one randomized position.
Yeah,
Right.
no, that's where they're not. That's where they're. Well, there's one, the regular position, and then we have. I think it's including that. So you have 959 others. Yeah, and then in addition to
Oh.
I'm pretty sure you can get the regular too, which is kind of lame.
You really have to be a grandmaster to play this.
Yeah.
That 959 additional random position. Oh my goodness.
Yes. Oh my gosh, like, you know, like the king could be on B8, it could be on G8. Is that like what you're basically saying? Like it could be on D8? Like it's like all these are different things that it can, you
Right.
can-
That's-
You're saying they're 960 starting points?
Yeah,
Pardon?
yeah, exactly. No, it could be anywhere
Okay.
between the G and the B files because you have to have a rook.
Jeez.
Yeah, like funny enough, sometimes it's here and here. It would be, where would it be? Here and here. Yeah, you just take the rook and you swing it to the other side of the king.
So the
Oh,
players.
that's what Wesley was trying.
agree-
That's what Wesley tried to do, but he was in check.
So the players have to agree. Both players have to agree to this particular randomized setup, right?
Well, that's the agreement when you go in to play 960. You're like, we're both gonna have a random position. We're both
Okay.
gonna have a random position. And
Okay.
in this case, well, I think what happens is everybody gets in this tournament, they all get the same position each round, and they get to play it from 2 different sides. So you see
Okay.
the first Nakamura game when we have then, okay, so it's knight, rook, and knight, right? And
Uh-huh.
the second one, oh, it's not. Oh, they haven't. Wait, what? It's a regular position. Oh, there it is. Yeah, on the other side, knight, rook, knight, knight, rook, knight. Yeah, that's the same one, I think. So yeah, that's weird. It didn't show it until move 1. I don't know why I did that. Anyway, yeah. So you guys have any questions about it?
So that's really cool. I'm gonna start investigating that a little bit more because it's cool because it's not like the regular play, you know, because you got to really rethink each move
Mhm.
really seriously and really scan the whole board really seriously because you're so out of sorts of how you normally play, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, complete disorientation.
Yes.
So which is good
Perfect
because it's
description.
more like real life in that way. You're not going to
Yeah.
you don't know exactly. You don't know what you're going to start with every day, right? So,
Well, at least giving your brain a serious workout each game.
Yeah.
yeah, I think so. I mean, regular chess is a good workout, but that's why for me, I said, oh, I'm, kind of tongue in cheek, but I am sort of jaded with the regular openings because, it's just, who wants that? I don't want a prescription to get in my comfort zone. I want to, the point is, look, you're playing chess. Well, just for example, just like I was talking about, like with you, Nikki, about, being very aggressive, getting yourself out there. So
Yes.
yeah, but for example, someone in real life, they're like, okay, I'm like someone who's shy, sort of, and not really put them out. Okay, you can practice that over the chessboard, and you should, because it's a
Yes.
laboratory. You have nothing to lose except a couple ego points, maybe, which is fine. It shouldn't be the case. It's the point is you're becoming
Out of your comfort zone.
improving your life, really. At
Yeah.
least you experiment. You have fun. You're like, okay, yeah, I'm just gonna go all out, have fun. Now you might decide to be like, hey, look, I'm trying to win, and doing that strategy didn't quite work for me. So I should try and be more solid, but I have to be able to be flexible. Like there are those moments where, you know, you can play the London or something predictable, but there are those moments where you got to be like, look, I'm going to enter ambiguity. And that's how you win a lot of times, you know, but in chess 960, you're forced to enter what should be a high level of ambiguity on move one, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So it's fun.
It was fun. I enjoyed actually watching all these games. They're live, and that gave me a lot more respect for these grandmasters because, okay, they already know how to play regular chess and all the different openings for that. So let's go into random 960. And they're doing it at such a high level, you know, because I watch how they counteract on the board, you know, and they're doing it at such a high level that it made my respect level for them grow bigger.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said about Wesley So, I knew he was a very strong grandmaster, but you know, the fact that he was able to beat Magnus, I'm like, whoa, those were some incredible games, you know, and the fact that, and I'm like, well, it wasn't classical chess, but it still speaks to how strong he is, you know?
Yeah.
Respect for him.
Well, David, I'm gonna go. I hope your voice gets better, and I hope it's not the RSVP.
Oh, hopefully. Well, it's gotten better. Thanks. It was really just, you know, it was just like bothering me for a few days, and then it didn't really get that bad. Someone said, bye, I have a lesson with Neiman. Anyway, yeah. So great job, guys.
All right.
Thank you so
Awesome
much.
analysis. I'm glad you guys enjoyed
Yeah, and also
feeling-
same thing. I hope you feel better, David. I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Thanks. But yeah, definitely hope it fostered your you know, appreciation for this, or now you knew, like Lynn, you didn't really you know about 960 before. So now you're
I've heard about it, but I didn't know what exactly it is. You know, now I know. And
yeah, very
look, David, it's gonna be a minute before I even attempt to tackle it.
yeah,
Me
just play it
too.
for fun.
Yeah, I can go. They have it at Lee Chess at 960.
Mhm.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'll try.
Yeah. That's how I started Lee Chess, because Chess 960 only had correspondence version, and then chess.com decided to do it too. But I started on Lee Chess because it was live. Anyway, I know you got to go, Lynn, but
Okay.
thanks for coming. I don't hold
All
you.
right. I'll see you all next week, and happy
Take
Halloween.
care, Lynn.
I don't.
Oh, you too. You too.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye. I'm gonna roll out too, David. I really hope you feel better. And it's good
Oh,
seeing you,
thanks.
Andrew and Richard, Lynn, CEO, whoever that. Oh, Connor, Jaden.
I guess Richard, right? All right.
Oh, yeah.
See
Okay.
you, Nikki.
Richard. Yeah, and yeah, definitely feel better. Hot tea, honey, all that good stuff.
I'm going for it. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Take care. Thank
Good
you
to
so
see
much.
guys. I'll send out the recording to you guys too. So
Okay.
YouTube. All right. Have a good one. I'll stop the recording.